Welcome to this tutorial on Yoast. Yoast is a plugin that is available for free from the WordPress plugin store that specializes in what's called SEO or search engine optimization. It's probably the most widely used app in the WordPress plugin store, and I'd highly recommend using it. We're going to be dealing with 90% of what we're talking about in this module here. So go ahead and locate that. The first thing I want to talk about is what this little snippet preview. If it looks familiar, that's because it emulates the design and layout of your just your typical Google search results that you'll find right below the search bar. You know, your title of your page, your web address, and a little brief description with probably a read more link that'll point to that page. So if you do a typical search, this is the layout that you'll see ensue as soon as you hit the search button. So this is actually going to be it's going to live preview based on what you fill in these two places, and we'll do that in just a second here. The next thing I want to show is this what's called this focus keyword. So depending on the page you're on, there's going to be one particular keyword or one particular keyword phrase that you're going to want to optimize as much as possible. So if you're dealing with, let's just say, a condo site or a condos page, you're going to want to I'm going to put an example here. I'm just going to say Austin condos, and that's it. It gives you some other suggestions, for, in this case, Austin region. But that would be the first thing you want to do is just input any phrase that you, based on your research, that you probably have done, that you want to focus for this particular page. Now you notice right below that there's a bunch of no's. We're going to change some of those no's to yes, and some of them aren't absolutely necessary. I'll tell you which ones are and which ones aren't. Article heading is not an absolutely necessary piece. That is going to point to what's in this title bar. You don't have to change this, but if you decide to change this, I'm going to change it to Austin condos. You notice we get a couple of yeses. We get the yes for the article heading and the yes for page title. You notice that the snippet preview also updated as well. Now, there could be various reasons why you don't want to change this page heading. Could be for your navigation. Would also in effect change depending on how your developer developed your WordPress site, and other various miscellaneous reasons. So we're going to just leave that untouched, and I'll show you. See how everything went back to no. I'll show you how to actually manipulate this without having to go up there. Here in this region called the SEO title, I'm going to stress this very much so that this is probably the most important part of your search engine optimization. There's a second thing that is almost as important, which is called page URL, which we'll deal with in a sec. But the SEO title is quite possibly the most important piece that you want to optimize as good as possible. So within that, if you're focusing on Austin condos, we want to include that key phrase in your SEO title. You'll notice the page title went to yes. You'll notice the snippet preview also altered as well. A really cool thing about WordPress, Yoast, is that it gives you a little countdown here for how many characters are left to be within the parameters that Google has set forth to not classify you as trying to spam the system in essence. So you want to keep within this number as much as possible. Although if you bleed into the red, no big deal. If you go with 10 characters above, that's not a big deal. And if you go well below it, it's not going to affect it. So it's really if you're going a little overboard. This is just a guideline to kind of show you what the best practices are. So just don't freak out if you go above and you have to use these key phrases. Again, if you bleed into it, no biggie. But you'll notice it'll count down when I start typing in key phrases. I'm just listing neighborhoods in this example. I just went blank on other neighborhoods in town, but I'm just going to type in arbitrary keywords that have to do with the Austin region. But anyways, again, I'll just show you that, yeah, you'll bleed into the red, no big deal. If it's a few characters off, you won't affect the system. And Google won't block you from showing up on the organic results. So that's how you in essence, affect the SEO title. You'll see that it updated up here, of course. Meta description is the next piece. Not nearly as important, but still I would highly recommend you do put a description. It's a 1 to 2 sentence description of what the page is about. You want to keep all your content in sync with each other. You don't want to go off on another subject matter that may be real estate related, but it's not necessarily having to do with the page itself. So if you're talking about Austin condos, you don't want to go off and talk about neighborhoods and well, any other keyword that doesn't have to do with condos. For some reason I went blank there. Anyways, description, again, is a 1 to 2 sentence deal, and it has also a countdown clock as well for characters. So you want to, I'm going to start with, and again, you don't have to start with the key phrase. It could be anywhere inside. So Joe Smith is a real estate expert for Austin condos with a specific expertise in the Barton Creek region. Now, obviously, I'm just typing what comes out top of my head, but you'll notice the meta description is now greenlit to yes, and that's because we use the key phrase Austin condos. Again, you don't have to use it at the beginning. It could be anywhere. It just has to. You just want to use that focus keyword somewhere in your description, somewhere in your SEO title. So that's pretty much it. You've got 50 characters to go, so you can type whatever else comes to mind at that point. The last piece, the last two pieces I want to kind of concentrate are page URL and content. So the actual web address that is associated with your page is actually pretty darn important when it comes to SEO. Right now we've got this generic one saying about us. What is that going to do for SEO? Nothing. So if you include and it's probably not going to greenlight because there's a dash, but you can't put spacing in your URL or else that'll cause problems down the road. So I'm just going to put a dash and another dash and put something else, TX. It won't, like I said, it won't green light, but you just want to have this URL be keyword friendly. And I use the focus keyword here, but you can go off the reservation a little bit and customize it to say something else. You can, if you want to say Austin, Barton Creek condos TX, that's fine. The name of the game is to make this more SEO friendly. You don't want to go overboard. I mean, what you see here is probably as far as you want to take it within keywords. Don't go and type in another 15 keywords on the URL because you're risking spamming. Unfortunately, there's not a character countdown, but that's just keep it within reason. When you're done with that, you're going to hit OK, and it'll change your URL to the more keyword friendly one. Again, it won't show up here, but you've done your deed and you've done what you're supposed to do. This will not update, of course, until you hit the update option, but we're going to refrain for that so I can show you the last piece, which is content. So content is what you type in your content. So I'm going to actually type in Austin condos, and in the past I'll say this: there's a delay that ensues when you start typing in this stuff. That'll show it go from no to yes. I think it's a bug within the app, but eventually it'll catch on. But take my word for it. I think it's if we do hit the update option, which I'm going to go ahead and do, and we've updated the URL, still no. So trust me on this. Just type in your key phrase. But of course, it doesn't matter as long as you include it. I'm just going to copy and paste this sentence to start it off. But you'll see that, and by the way, if you do little things like bolding, that actually helps. I'm not sure why, but I think Google sees that it's emphasized on the page, so it takes special note of that. So another best practice, and you see it's bolded in the little snippet preview. But of course, that may be because this content is at the very top region. So that's pretty much it with the SEO app. You also get a score at the end. You'll see it says poor, but you can check as to why. And that's because, see, there's 6 words contained in the body copy, and you want to be, and it tells you a recommendation. This is your page analysis, by the way. We were in the general tab. And it'll give you other recommendations. There's no images on this page, and so on and so forth. Kind of see, no-so headings like an H2, which just stands for heading 2. Heading 1 is also very important. So, these font sizes can help improve your score. So you want to get as good a score as possible and go up from poor. I just did the bare minimum, which give me a lot of these green dots. But you want to go off and comply with all these other recommendations, so you can get the best bang for your buck for organic search. And that's pretty much it. I know this was a long-winded one, but I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you learned something. We'll see you on the next one.